Welcome back, everybody. VavSound Video Installation Guide Series. We're here today in a 2015 4 Series Grand Coupe. It's very similar to the 3 Series and the 4 Series in terms of door panel removal. But we wanted to have something specific for these Grand Coupes because I think they're just the sexiest cars there are. So keep in mind, you might have seen this in other cars before, but we're going to cover this window switch removal process as well, which I don't think we've done in other videos. So we're going to start here in the front doors. We're going to go to the back doors, which are removed in an identical fashion to the front doors. They're also removed in an identical fashion to the 3 Series. But we're going to cover the process. Let's get started here on the front door. So just like the 3 and 4 Series, there's only 2 screws. There's one back here, one back here. You may have wood grain here. You may have aluminum. For you fancy ladies and lads, you'll have the Craben Fibre, I believe it is called. And the panel's extracted in the same method regardless of the trim. So here it is crucial we use a plastic panel removal tool. This is in your toolkit. If you won't have our toolkit, do not use a metal panel removal tool. It will mar this irreparably. Fortunately, these are not expensive. I mean, about $100 to get a new one. So there's a seam that you can kind of see, and it's, I mean, whether we can show it or not, it's pretty darned obvious. There's a seam. You can just run your fingers along it. And so what we're going to do is use the tip of our panel removal tool and kind of slip in there on the bottom, and you can just see it just kind of frees itself. And then once we get it freed, we're going to go in with our fingers and kind of finish up the process. So the way it works, there's a little tab up here on the top. You can't see it from here, but it hooks this trim piece underneath the door panel. So there's a piece here we want to pull out, and there's a piece down here that goes back and towards the rear of the panel. So we don't want to yank down here because it could break it. So the key is removing from the top, and then we fold the piece out and come towards us. So we'll do that kind of, I'll show you how it works. But you got to use your fingers here a little bit in conjunction with the panel removal tool. There's 3 clips back here, and we'll go over that once we actually get it off. So we just, a little pry, and they're tight. It's the first time they come off. They go back on just as tight, no worries. And we just kind of, sometimes you might want to, up the top, perfect. All right, so we freed everything. You can kind of now see down here that little thing I was talking about. So it's very critical that we don't just yank that out. And then there's the top piece. So we just, and you can see that we left all these clips here in the door. That's fine. Make sure if one stays on and some come off, the key when you're reinstalling this is just to make sure they're either all here or they're all on this trim panel. So we don't want to, and you want to push them all back down, make sure they're sitting flush on there so that when we go to reinstall the panel, it's nice and even. So that's off, that's out of the way. Put it aside. You don't want to spill your beer on it. You don't want your dog to come over and bury it. So it's going to reveal 2 Torx T25s. And again, watch me unscrew screws a million times. Not super exciting. That's probably a good time to go do something more productive or just fast forward it. Some people, quite frankly, if you're having to have me tell you to turn a screw to the left to remove it, you really need to take it to a professional to have it installed. Or, I mean, that's really the only option. So you gotta use your eyes at the end of your driver here. And I always use this little cheater tool here. I have a little magnet that I use to pull out the screws. So you can see it's just a Torx T25, 2 of those guys. And oddly enough, that is how the door panel of your almost $70,000, maybe $90,000 M4 is held on. 2 screws. And then, so effectively what we've done at this point is there's a perimeter of clips on the back side of this panel that secure it to the door. So it's very flimsy on these bottom edges. It's just really thin cardboard. So I start up here kind of at the heart of it all. This is a thicker panel. It's more stable. And plus it's easier to work from this top edge. So it always breaks free easy. So again, plastic panel removal tool. Do not use the metal tool yet. We'll get to that on the back side of the panel. Don't use anything other than this non-marring plastic and your hands. So let's kind of talk about how we do this. So there's a clip here, 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 and then there's clips around this perimeter. So we're just gonna pop off the door towards us. Don't worry about anything else in here. We'll get to this. This is all secured on the back side of things. So without further ado, let's kind of take our panel removal tool. I usually start, quite frankly, you see how it's real easy to pry. It's just, again, it's just cardboard. There's nothing complex here. So I like to take my panel tool and get this top one free with my hands. And you can hear them. So then, with those guys free, I kind of work my way around to this back side and get that first one free. Now once that first one's free, you kind of come down with your hand. They're going to be tight, but you're not going to break anything. They were designed to be removed and repaired. And the panel comes free. So I actually have one clip stay in, so I'll show you how to remove that. But for right now, I'm going to have the camera come around to the rear of the door, and we are going to unplug everything that's connected to the car. The most important thing is this guy right here. I want to be very careful. This is that phospholuminescence lighting thingamabobby that runs up here. We want to get that unplugged first, and to do so, we just use our fingers and pull it out like that. Then, using our metal panel removal tool, you can see there's like these little white plastic clips. We just prime off the door panel. It's pretty straightforward. Like so. See the little clip? Pop it off. We've got a few of those. Got the shop dog with us here today. She might pop into the shot. And I know you just peed. Alright, so we're popping these clips out. Now, this is our door latch mechanism. It's real simple. Like so. And then just using our finger, you can kind of see there's just a little white tab right here. A little white tab. We just literally, like so. It's so easy. And then to put it back on, make sure the door handle is closed, and then it just goes in like that. So it's very easy to remove. Brilliant design. I think BMW did that first. Job well done. Okay, so we've got one more little thing down here. We're going to unplug the light on the bottom of the door by simply pulling the plug out of the light. So we've got our harness, everything pretty much free right now, except for this master window controller switch. This is the same on the 3 Series, the 4 Series, quite frankly the 2 and the 1 as well. I don't like taking this thing out. Sometimes you have to, sometimes you don't. You can kind of see down in here. I don't know if we can show you. The lighting is good enough. But there's just a hinged little plug down here. Can you guys see that? Yeah. So there's a little gray arm here, and basically what we have to do, there's a button on top of this plug. We have to depress that little button, and then let's see if I can do this and show you guys. So we depress that little button, and then we just fold back. It's very difficult to do and try and show you. So you see how so that little gray arm, there's a white button on top, you push it back, and it comes out. I actually got it unplugged, but it's not going to go back in that easily. So it's actually better now. I can take this up to the workspace and have an easier way of showing you how to do this. So what we're going to do is we're going to pause here. We're going to head up to the workspace, and then I'll show you how we actually extract this master window control switch. You don't have to do this on the other doors, the other remaining doors, because the plug is not this type of plug. It's a very standard little plug that you can just disconnect without having to remove each window switch from each door.
All right, guys, so got our door panel off. We're going to tackle the removal of the factory mid-range in tweeter. This is the same in the 4 Series coupes, the 3 Series, the Grand Coupes 4 Series, the 3 Series GTs, all the same, exact same process. We're going to do it once, clean, fresh, show you the sound deadening, all that fun stuff. So, mid-ranges attached with the Torx T20. There are 3 of them. And again, not super exciting, but I'm going to unscrew them. This is also the same for Harman Kardon or the Hi-Fi system, or the base system, as it were. You just wouldn't have the tweeters. We would be installing those later. That is the train. And remember, all these tools are in your Bavsound toolkit. I'm just using my Snap-on tools because I have to justify the amount of money I spent on them by using them. So, mid-range unplugged or disconnected. Now we just unplug. That goes back to the factory amplifier. This goes up to the tweeter. So with the mid-range out, we've got obviously that area exposed. Now the tweeter, it's interesting. It's the same on the coupes, and the 4 series are a little bit different than the 3 series, but the same on the coupes. So there's 2 tabs on the back of this pod. There's one that goes in here and one that kind of does that down here. So we're going to snap out the top and then lift up and unhook the bottom. And I'll show you once I get it. So we kind of lean it towards the back, pull out, and then up. And then you can see, here's the whole tweeter housing. I'll show you. We'll pull this foam out of the way. I can show you that, the process. So there's the top. It's just a clip. And there's that bottom piece. So it kind of hooks in like so. So we lifted, so we went out and then up and out. And that's kind of how that frees itself up. And you can see how that's kind of done in there. So it's pretty straightforward. I mean, obviously that took a second. And so at this point, we will take our tweeter. We'll unwrap all this stuff out of the foam. And actually, you know what you can do? Might as well just do it here. This tweeter just pops right out of here. And ours, of course, snaps right back in. So you can see the factory tweeter is actually loose in there. Our tweeter fits more snug than the factory tweeter, actually. So we can just pry it out using your fingers. There's just 4 little tabs securing the whole thing, and you just pull out the factory tweeter. You see the little tabs. There's a set there, a set there, a set there, and a set there. So this just pops right out. Let's pause it right here with the factory tweeter and mid-range out. We're going to come back. We'll pop the new tweeter into the housing and go over the sound deadening process and installation of the new mid-range, and bam, be done with it. So we've got our new tweeter, which, as you can see, is absolutely gorgeous. Machined aluminum housing, silk dome, just brilliant. So snaps back in exactly the way the factory tweeter did. Just a little pressure here, a little pressure there. Snaps in. And let's turn it a little bit. Boom, just like that. Wires come out of the bottom. You can see how beautiful that is. Ah, just nice. Then we just take our foam like we had before. The key here is just tucking this. So you can see it's got the little routing. So just getting that. So we got that coming down there like so. And then let's put this pod on first just to kind of keep the flow going. So again, we want to start with this piece in the larger square part, and then it hooks down. So we kind of get it situated. Boom, like so. It just snaps right in. It's so easy. That's it. I mean, that's how the whole pod's held in. So, done. Tweeter's done. Super straightforward. Now, here's the fun part. So we're going to do a little bit of sound deadening here. Now, what that is, you can hear, like, this is just thin sheet metal. And the speaker mounts directly to it. And BMW they've done an okay attempt at trying to isolate the driver from the metal. But we're going to do one up. We're going to actually make all of this completely dead by adding this material. So what I've done is kind of cut like a preliminary size. Kind of do it like this. So we'll do this. So we just kind of fit it up here like so. And then I'll come through and cut this out. And you can leave this adhered to this if you want. It's not going to hurt anything. But what we're trying to do is add mass to this to keep, and it weighs nothing, as you can feel. But we're just trying to keep this panel dead and keep the resonance controlled, because metal, when one hard surface is mounted to another, there's resonance, and it is audible. So we want to correct that. So what we're doing, I have a heat gun. You probably won't have a heat gun, but if you have hair left, first of all, well, consider yourself lucky. I don't. You can use a hair dryer, and for those of you like me, you just go grab your wife's hair dryer. So you just want to get this warm, because we want it to get tacky. We're just getting the back of this nice and tacky. Don't get it so hot you burn yourself. Let's get it tacky. And then we're going to adhere it directly to the metal. isn't going to hurt anything. It doesn't add any weight. It just, again, we're controlling the resonant frequency of that metal. Do this here. Don't do it once it's on the door. It's just, so it's going to be really tacky. Yeah, so we just, and then we just kind of push it down onto the contours of the door, like so. And then it gets kind of hot, or it's kind of warm. So we just take like the butt of our screwdriver or whatever, and push it down. You can see now the outline perfectly forming of where the speaker will mount. Keep on, these edges can be a little sharp, so just be a little bit aware of that. Now it's nice and dead. So with that applied, then I've got some other little pieces I'm going to, we give you plenty of sound deadening. So I'll cover on up into here. I'll cover over in here a bit. You can just custom cut that out. Just eyeball it. They're all a little bit different. So we just send a universal piece for all the BMWs. So the key is controlling this area around the mid-range where it mounts to the car. So there's already a pretty hefty piece here. And then we've done this on this mounting surface. So now we'll take a razor blade and kind of go, you can see that's where the hole is. So let me just take a razor blade and just go right around the hole. Don't go too deep because you've got a window back there, and if you've tented it, you don't want to slip and cut it. So we have a perfect hole. Now we have this nice piece here, which what I usually like to do is come up high with it and just adhere it back here onto the back side of the panel. Just with your fingers, it's fine. And now we've doubled up on this panel, which you can't put too much sound deadening. Just go up here, and so now it's all the way up on the inside there. Then I just come back around and just trim it off like so, and you've got a beautiful little sandwich of sound deadening. So that's how it's applied. It's not complex at all. And then again, I just kind of go over it one more time, just make sure everything's nice and snug. And then the speaker goes, you can see where the holes are. Leave the sound deadening there, so that way when we run the screws back through to secure the speaker, it's basically tacking the screw in there even better, so there'll never be any resonance. So that's how we do the sound deadening. This is the same on the 3 and the 4 series. Like I said, I'll add a couple more pieces, but we're not going to sit there and watch me do that. So let's pause it right here. I'll come back after I've done that. We'll install the mid-range, connect everything, put the door panel on. And again, this whole process, even for a novice, won't take more than 20 minutes per door. So it's really, really efficient to knock this out on your own. So let's pause here. We'll see you in a moment. All right. So we've got the sound deadening done. We want to pop in our mid-range at this point. So there's a couple things we need to do. There's a foam ring that sits on the front of the mid-range. That pops off. We're going to use that on the back side of this particular application. The second thing we're going to do, there's a rubber boot on the speaker. That pops off. We don't need it in these. This is just aesthetic. We just put it on there to make it look pretty. But in this particular application, we don't use it for. It doesn't get in the way, but I just like to remove any sort of impediment behind this wall here. So let's take this boot off. You can use it as a koozie or any kind of fun stuff. So then we just kind of snake the wires through here. And now you can see where this factory wiring harness comes up through from the door panel. We're going to bring our wires through there as well. And so you can see how the speaker mounts. It mounts like this in the car. So we're going to take these wires, and they're going to run like that, and then down and around and up through here. So you can just, this is just the sticky like speaker snot stuff. You can just pry it back with your finger. It's just real sticky stuff. And then you just take these guys, and up and out we come with them, like so. Like that. Don't do anything permanent yet. And now we just want to get the wires situated. So remember, keep them down like that. And then we just, keeping that situated like so, then we situate our speaker. Now, I would tell you before you just try to run the speaker through there, just go through with a we should have showed you this beforehand. Just go ahead and poke a hole through where the factory screw holes are before you go and try to start wobbling a screw through there and poke on a hole in the speaker. I've been doing this for 20 plus years, and I still goof this up from time to time. And maybe for you, I can do that here today. In fact, I'm going to need to do that right now because I will goof this up. And look, I'm actually way off in terms of where it goes. It's actually right there. So just poke those holes out before you screw the speakers in because we don't want to make that mistake. Well, you don't want to make that mistake. Actually, I don't either because we'll ship you a new speaker at no charge, and that costs everybody money. So. All right, so let's do this. We get this guy lined up. Kind of get started with our fingers. Or not. It's the beauty of filming an actual process is you get to see what you're going to experience. This is why many of you might just say, you know, I'm going to take it to the dealer. And, you know, we've got dealers all over the world that can handle this for you, should you choose to have that done. So let's do this now. Don't tighten them down all the way, just get them all started. Make sure the speaker is nice and flush, at which point we are going to then snug them down, and then we go back and tighten them. And just work your way around. Perfect, so the mid-range is installed, and at this point, pull these wires tight so we know they're out of the way, and then just push that right back down, which is perfect. So now we plug in the blue to the blue, like so. Grab a little wire tie. Actually, we'll do all this at the last moment. So now, these, it looks like they can plug together, and they can, but you must. This is our tweeter filter and our little crossover that we've developed. So in here we've got a couple of, couple of coils and a cap, a resistor, to tune this tweeter to the Harman Kardon system. So this must be installed. If you don't install this between the mid-range and the tweeter will fry, and we'll know you did it because it'll be obvious. So this must be installed between every mid-range and every tweeter, front of the car, back of the car, etc. So we plug this guy in, like so. Can only plug in one way. Plug it in here, like so. And then for these 3 and 4 series, there's enough room up here to tuck in the capacitor harness up and out of the way. But we need to also keep in mind, we need to keep clear of these mounting holes here. So that's where the door panels get reaffixed down. So just take a wire tie and tie these guys out of the way, like so. These guys out of the way, like so. Again, it's all so clean and so easy to do. Bam. Now, our door panel goes right back on the way we took it off, which we're going to pause right here. I'm going to grab that door panel, and we're going to pop everything back together. So on each door, before we put everything back together, after we install the mid-range, you'll notice that we sent you some foam rings. We really only need this outside part. Unfortunately, the way they're die cut, this is included. So please try and find something to do with this. You can just stick it on the door panel, quite frankly, if you want, which is what I'm going to do. But this goes around the mid-range and helps it seal up to the door panel when we put it back on. This is absolutely critical. This is the same in all of the doors, 3 series and 4 series. It is critical that we do this and maintain. We want this airtight so when the panel compresses, as you can see, it's a perfect fit for around the driver. So we do that on each of the 4 doors. You don't have to worry about it with the center channel, but on each of the doors in your 3 series or 4 series, it is imperative when we're using an offset driver to use this ring. So with this piece here, again, let's just, so we don't waste it, let's get a little extra sound deadening. That's not gonna hurt anything. Look at that. Ta-da! All right, so then we put the door on, we rock and roll, we do that, and that's it. So I just wanted to cover that with you. So cool. All right, let's move along. Okay, so good news. This is easy. It's going to take 2 seconds. I also want to show you, this happened to me. It could happen to you. One of the little clips stayed in the door itself. I'm glad that happened because it might happen to you, and I'll show you how to deal with it. Your metal panel removal tool will pop it right out. So just go down there, just give it a little twist, like so. It'll pop right out. And then we just affix it back to the door panel. So it just snaps right in, just go through the side, just clip like so, and that's perfect. I'm glad you guys saw that. So now we can start putting all the harnesses back together. And this is just elementary here. And now, again, a lot of people will overlook this. We get calls on it occasionally, and we have to say, what'd you do? They forgot to, let's do that. Oh, where the heck, where did that guy? Oh, he goes up here. Yep. But first we got to get this guy up through there. So this guy goes up under there, back up. Remember, make sure this is closed when you reconnect that. Perfect. And then this guy goes right here. And then don't forget to plug in the super duper fancy lighting. It's the last little plug up here. Clip it. It'll snap. I did not snap that. There, I think I snapped that, but I double check. There. And now, pop your window control back up through here. We'll reattach that after we get this back on. And lastly, we just snake this little guy up through here. And I always align the top first. It'll settle right in, just snap, snap, snap. And the trick here to getting the rest of the door to just settle in exactly as it should, kind of lift up a little bit. And you'll feel the clips line up and just perfection. We are good to go. So we'll just, what I like to do at this point, I always like to turn on the radio and give a quick listen to make sure that everything's playing as it should be. Perfect. So just take a quick listen, turn it off, and now we can go about reassembling the door panel. So we'll talk about this. Let me get these guys in just to make sure it's all nice and snug. So with this window switch, you can see here on the back there are two fixed little tabs. So the way this window switch comes out, actually, you know, let's just go ahead and plug it in. So I'll show you how to take it out too. So here's how the window switch comes out. You depress this little white button, fold back this little gray arm, it pops out. Obviously reinstallation is the opposite. It clicks back in. So we have 4 metal tabs on either side here, and then we have this little plastic one on the front, fixed on the back. So the way it actually goes, you know, you put it down like this, and we slide these fixed ones back, and then it goes down in there. Now the way we got those out in the first place was from the back side behind the door, is we just carefully lift it up, focusing on this front tab because it's just a little plastic tab. So we depress that little tab, which I can show you here. So we just depress that little tab from the back side, lift up the front, and then the thing pops out, you know, with these tabs fixed back here. So we then just put these guys back in, get it like so, and then snaps right back in. That's how it goes back together. So everything's put back together except this piece, and this is where we want to focus as closely as we can on how to reinstall this. So we want to hook this bottom piece first. So it just, you can see there's a little metal piece back here. So we want to get this behind that metal piece and then get this tab on top of this ridge. First and foremost. Perfect. And then everything else will just line right up. Well, it should. So you've got to keep an eye back there. And as you can see, I actually goofed that up. So let's start over. It's good you're seeing this because this is what you're going to experience. So again, this little tab first. Get it situated here. Then we make sure that all of the other ones are lined up where they need to be, which we currently are. That one's lined up, that one's lined up, that one's lined up. And then just like so. It just goes right back on. Perfect line, and we're ready to rock and roll. So the same process is repeated on all 4 doors, or if it's a coupe, just the front 2 doors. And that's how we get this done in the 3 and 4 Series. So we're going to pause right here and join you guys on the rear doors of this Grand Coupe, or if you've got a 3 Series, the rear doors of that as well. Same thing. So we'll see you in a moment. We are at the rear door of our Grand Coupe, 4 Series Grand Coupe. This is the Harman Kardon system, so if you've got a 3 Series, your rear doors will look just like this. There'll be that supplemental metal tweeter there chopping off your ears, which we will fix with a silk tweeter. So, removal process, identical to the front of the car. Only thing that's going to be different that we're going to cover is the installation of the tweeter, which we'll do up on the workspace. So, once again, might as well we start prying off our... Boy, there is something directly in my... All right, so once again, we get this guy off. Like so, just like we did before. And it's actually good. This one's kind of tight. Sometimes they're real snug. Sometimes they come right off, and you're like, hey, wait a second. This is a brand new car. Again, only plastic. Only plastic. No metal. Oh, door's closing. Again, you weren't going to have these problems because you're not trying to film. Maybe you are. I don't know. Boy, that one is snug. Whoo! Boy, this little fella down here hanging on for dear life. And again, these are good things that you guys see. There we go. Come on now, like, you know. Boy, that one is absolutely in there, but don't worry. There we go. Boy, this is about one of the most snug one of these I have ever seen. Whew. My goodness. There we go. And again, remember this guy in the back. We don't want to forget him. So actually it's kind of cool. You see this. So you see how some came with the trim piece and some stayed in? So as I mentioned, we either want them all on the trim piece or all on the door. So in this case, we're 50-50. So let's put them back on the trim piece. And I'll show you how we do that. So as you can see, there's like a little S, whatever. So we want this part towards the top of the handle. So we'll pry these little guys out of here. It's really easy to do. It's always hard doing things when you're filming. So use your metal tool to do this. It's just a little bit more efficient. So like I said, we want, you can see how this is like that. So we want this guy, like, in other words, you want the receiving end, the female end, on the bottom of the clip. You see? So it's on the bottom, 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 and then there's one more down here that's still hanging out. We want that on the bottom. That way, when you put this back on, it'll just snap right back into place. And then one more time, you want it on the bottom. Like so. See, it just snaps right in there like that. Perfect. So, that guy out of the way. Again, be super careful. Same process. I mean, you can watch this again if you want. Same principle. You can probably go ahead and stop now. You know what to do. Maybe some of you have some tips for regrowing my hair. You can kind of see it here. Maybe shoot us an email through the site. Leave a comment on the interwebs. I am all ears. I'll probably scoop a toupee one of these days. Pretty cool one. Maybe a Kenny G or something like that. I was thinking about the Gallagher look for a while. I don't know. A lot of options. All right, so okay. I don't know where that went on. So again, we want to start at the top. And so again, plastic, plastic, plastic. You start up here. Boy, it is hard when you're trying to show you. Otherwise, I'd be out here working from my right-hand side because I'm right-handed. Let's try that. It's just maybe easy. Show it from there. So these things are tight. So again, just work your way around with your fingers. If these little guys drop off, there's a little padding. Just when you get the door panel up onto the shelf, just reinstall it over the little clip that it popped off of. And bam, just like before. And then unplug your tweeter, unplug your fancy lighting. Again, metal tool. Pry off the little white clips back here, just like we did before. Now we got tons of space, and you can see what I'm talking about here. With the switch, you can just unplug it. You don't have to go through and take off anything. No fancy stuff. Just pop these little guys out. Unplug your light. Door clip again, just lift up and out. And then we are done. So remember this little guy that fell off? This is where it fell off, so it just goes like so, and you can see that all the rest of them have their little... So this one stayed on as well. So we'll pop it back on. Just to make sure those guys are all there for posterity's sake. Boy, that was super snug, eh? Okay, easy enough. Off we go. So we've got the tweeter up here. We're going to remove it from here. So let's pause it here and head up to the workspace. All right, guys, so here we are on our workspace. This is with our rear door of the 4 Series Grand Coupe. Also, for those of you with the 3 Series with the Harman Kardon, same method here. So we're just going to extract the OE tweeter, which, as you can see, has been globbed in here with a little bit of glue and such, and then routed and things like that. So we're going to take our little metal panel removal tool, and we're going to just pry this little guy off here so we can get these wires out of there, like so. And just pop them out, pop that guy out, pop it out, pop it out. And now we can extract this tweeter. So to do so, you see there's just kind of, well, it's just like that front tweeter where there's just 4 little clips, but we've got to get past this glue. So again, in our toolkit, we've got a little black right angle pick. So we just kind of get down in here, and there's no method to this, just pick out the glue. Oh, boy, that's not really great, is it? That glue is damn in there, huh? So that's all we're doing. Ultimately, we just want this tweeter out of here. So the glue just comes right out. We're going to put a little bit more back in. We sent you a little tube. Our tweeter fits better than this, but it's one of those things where in the front door they kind of use that foam padding to sandwich the tweeter into the housing, so that prevents any weird resonance. And back here, there's nothing to really do that, which is why the glue has been used. So, like I said, we're going to do this. We're just going to reapply a little bit of glue as well, but we got to dig this out first. So that glue pretty much out. The tweeter just pops. Oh, I guess I don't have that glue pretty much out yet, because there's about a gallon of it in this particular car. Funny, the other side had like the smallest little blob. Looks like this was like the end of a tube or something. The guy just said, "Put all the glue in there, Heinrich." Or Gunther. I'm sure there's someone named Gunther over there too. So with the glue out, the tweeter actually will just lift right out of here. As you can see, it just pops right out. Very similar to the front. So no more aluminum tin can tweeter chopping at your ear. We replaced this with this. As you can see, art. Okay, so let's get this glue out of here. Keep it as clean as we can. And then take our bath sound tweet and let's snap it right back in. the housing. So again, you can't really goof this part up. Listen, it just snaps right in. It just snaps right in, as you can see. Actually, really does just snap right in. Just take that, run it through like so. Look at that. Now, as far as the glue goes, I just do it because it's just how I was raised. Again, just take your glue and just put a little blob there, maybe a little blob there, maybe a little blob there. You can put as much as you want. Okay, there we go. So here's the key, though. Once you do this, before you go wrenching the panel around and putting the door back on, let this sit. So in other words, what I suggest doing is pull off both rear doors and have them on your workspace. So pull off both rear doors, bring them to your workspace, do the tweeters, and then go and do the mid-ranges. So let that process, do the sound deadening, the mid-ranges, etc. Let this cure for about half an hour, then put the door back on. So it's all easy. All right, so now, again, just like in the front, we got to use our cap harness on the tweets. So we plug it in, and take it like so, and then we just take this, put it back down in there, just like that OE one was. So, and then we can put this guy back down there, just like that, and then this is going to hang out over here, and then this will plug back into the tweeter, so no worries there. So now, with that done, we just put the door back on like we did with I'm going to let this sit up and cure, but I mean, this is installed exactly the same way as the front door. There's no sense in watching all that over again and taking that time. So that's how we do the tweeter in the rear door. And just make sure that everything is out of the way of this bolt hole here. So in other words, don't run your tweeter wires over here, because this is where the handle from the door panel goes through. So just keep that clear. And then that's it. I mean, it's that straightforward. So let's pause it here, and we're going to join you guys up on the dash for the center channel installation. Perfect. All right. So we've tackled all the other speakers in the car. I like to finish on the center channel. It just kind of brings it all back, front, and center. All right. So we're going to shoot through the windshield down on me doing this. Just a mid-range, and certain cars have tweeters up here, but this particular one does. So very straightforward. Plastic panel removal tool. This is a Grand Coupe. A lot of the M cars also have leather-wrapped dashes. Be very careful. Do not use metal up here. Also, it's very, very, very cold outside. You want to heat this up a little bit. So just, with your hand, take a hairdryer and just warm it up. Make sure you don't burn anything, but, just get it, warm it up. You don't want to do it when this plastic is cold. It'll just be that much more difficult to get off. So, again, so just very carefully get up under there, like so, and just lift up. I came in here and armor rolled this car with about 9 gallons of armor roll. I can't keep. You can see it just. Just pops up like that. Bam. So we got a mid and a tweet up there. We've got in our Bavsound toolkit, we've got a right angle driver that lets us get up in here easily and get this mid and tweet out of here. So we gotta, if you've got a bass or a hi-fi car, you're not gonna have this tweeter. Do a little trivia here. We're going to see the premiere of the Paul Newman racing documentary tomorrow here in Los Angeles, so you can figure out the date we're filming this. And the winner gets to have a beer in Los Angeles with us. All right, so look at that. It's unscrewed. We unplugged the tweeter. Be careful when you're doing this. Again, we're working near that windshield. We don't want to have the speaker pop into the windshield inadvertently. That is tight, eh? So you can just pull down on that. So, and the tweeter just comes right out. And that leaves us with our center channel locale. All right, so with our center channel driver, again, we're going to pop off the rubber boot, much like we did with the other speakers. And we've got a spacer ring. As you can see, it's got a cutout in it that goes up here around the terminals, like so. So we're spacing up this center channel a little bit just because we wanted to use a ferrite motor up here. And to do that, we had to just build this little spacer ring. So this is it's easy to do, but it's hard to show, much like everything else. Well, the first thing we're going to want to do is get our tweeter installed and get our capacitor harness back there out of the way. And so I'm trying to see how I can most effectively do that. Oh boy. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and plug the tweeter into the mid-range. Just have that done with. Okay. So now, why don't we just do it like this? Just easier. So we're going to plug in the mid-range driver, like so. Like that. And I don't know if I can do this from the passenger side. It's so difficult to see. So let's try anyway. We're going to take the mid-range wires and put them way down there out of the way because we do not need them blocking our party. And then we just bring the tweeter wire through there. So, perfect. We drop our screw in like so on the mid. Screw in like so on the mid, and our screw in like so on the mid. And then we take that and we just use our hand, get it started. And then, just like all the other speakers, you just kind of start snugging them down. Don't go wrench one down and then wrench the other one down. This is not how we do it. Let's get them all snug. And then we can take our tweeter, pop the cap harness back here behind the dash, like so. And we pop our tweeter in just like that. And again, remember here is you do not want to lose these screws down in the dashboard. So start them with your hand, like so. And I can't see up here, so I'm going to just eyeball and hope. Perfect, that I'm in there. And then we just like the mid-range, we just this back one's the toughest of all. Getting like a quarter turn at a time. And then the grill, of course, just snaps right back on top of it. But again, like we did on all the other doors, we turn the radio on real quick. We're not auditioning. We're not putting in one speaker, auditioning it, comparing it to the rest of them. It functions as a system. So we're just checking to make sure that it's playing. And then we go back later and we tune and we do all that fun stuff, which we're going to go over here in a moment. The tuning process, especially in the HK cars, where we have so much adjustability. Perfect. So now, again, we just turn the car on real quick. Wait 35 minutes for the stereo to turn on. Just perfect. So we're good to go. And at this point, we just snap on our grill exactly as we removed it, like so. All right, guys, so here we are in the back of our Grand Coupe. It looks intimidating. It is not. It's actually markedly easier than you would think. It's just not hard at all. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is just pop up the back seat. And to do that, you just take a firm grasp of the seat up here on the front edge, lift up on either side, and just get it free. Because we need to access these side bolsters. We're going to lift them out. So get the seat free. Fold the seat down. Now we kind of just come in here, get our hand behind this, pull towards us. Ow. That was a little funny. All right, so we just get our hand back here, pull it out like so. This piece comes with it. Actually, let me just take this like so. This guy comes out like that. We'll put it back in, put this out of the way in the back, and then our bolster comes out of the way and just lifts up. You see these couple little tabs here? This little plastic piece will stay in. Depress this little tab, pull out, and it just snaps right back on here, like so. We'll move this guy out of the way. And now, get down to business, as it were. So, first things first, we're going to play with the airbags. I'm just kidding. The airbags are up here, so don't worry. Using our right angle pick, we are going to carefully and conscientiously pop out this little plug. And there's a plastic tab on this side and this side. So what we do is we get under here, like so. And out it comes. So you can see just a couple little tabs. Pop it out, place it off to the side. There's a Torx T20 hiding out back here. We will extract it. Use our cheater magnet that I have. I don't know. Grab that guy out of the way. It's now free on the top. Use our metal. You just go ahead and pull this out all the way. And then come back here. It's got a couple little clips in the way. Boop, one there. And I'll show you what I'm doing here once I get it out. It'll make sense. So there's just two little plastic clips, just like the front doors. So we've got that out of the way. Awesome. Let's put it over here on the side. Now, the next thing we do is extract this panel back here. So to do that, we're going to come into the hatch. We take our metal panel removal tool, kind of sneak up under here, and just whoop. Out you go. As they say in the South, it ain't no thing but a chicken wing. Boy, that was pretty, that was a risk I took right there. Okay, so this piece just continues to come out like so. It's just attached with some clips. And then it just, watch up here, and it just pops right out. So you can see it's just a series of clips. And bam, it comes out nice and easy. Put it over here on the side. Nothing else back here. Now we're going to come back around to this side. Show you guys a little trick we learned. So I'm going to come into the picture here. And again, if you're a big dude, this ain't no fun. I'd pay your neighbor to come do it, your teenage kid to come do it. It's just easier. So now, there's this piece which needs to be removed. It's separate from the speaker portion. So there's a clip here, and there's a clip here. And then there are two in the back that slide in to this panel. So we come up here, we can almost use our fingers. Again, using our metal tool. And we just pry out that first one, like so. And it comes down, and then you can see back there that second one. And then can get back there. Can you? I don't know. Yeah, you can get back there. Perfect. Get back there with your finger. You depress these two little tabs. This piece slides right out. So just very straightforward. See these little tabs? You guys can see them. Then you'll reinstall this little piece that fell out because we'll need it later. It's just a clip. Put that back. Now we have our speaker pod, which is just held in by a couple of clips. So we just kind of pry up there. We pry up. Where else do we pry it? Right here, like so. And there's a couple back here. And this guy just lifts right out. And voila, we have access to our mid-range and our tweeter. Just like the front center channel, it's held in with a couple of Torx T20s. We loosen them up. Some might argue this is easier than the door panel. I would not, but some might. This is the last piece of the puzzle in these cars, the way we do them. So we get this final tweeter firing off a glass and clean up the car. So again, we've got three. It's trickier to do this. Try to show you guys. So effectively unscrew them. we can keep filming this, and which we will, but you can stop watching at this point because we're just unscrewing a speaker. So we get the mid out, we unplug it. The tweeter's kind of, it's all funky back in here. You just got to disconnect it from the, it's kind of tucked up in here. So just pull it out. I can't really see. And pull the tweeter out, the mid out, and that leaves us room for the mid-range and tweeter that I have left somewhere. I don't know. So we're going to pause right here. I'm going to go hunt those down, and we're going to drop them in, reassemble, and party on. All right, so got the mid prepped. We've popped off the foam ring from the front that we're going to use on the back like we did on all of the other offset drivers. Go ahead and install this guy on the front of the driver and put this ring up here in the deck like so. You can see we just kind of dropped it up in there like that. And now we take our wires coming off of the mid-range and snake them out. We're going to do the tweeter last. You can leave the rubber boot on back here. There's no fitment issues back here. Ample room. And now make sure that sits down nicely. Perfect. So again, we'll plug in the mid-range, and the tweeter we will do after the fact. This just tucks down here out of the way. No problem. So you can put it wherever you want, actually. Put that out of the way like so. And then the tweeter's going to go down here anyway. Like that. So the mid kind of in there, we'll just get it snugged down. And just like all the rest of them, don't go wrenching one down and come back and do the other and get them all snug. Perfect. So the mid is nice and snug. The tweeter it's already got the integrated capacitor, so there is no additional harness. So the tweeter filter is in play already. So she snaps right in like so. And then, as you recall, the tweeter just kind of sat atop this. And then we snug it all up and revel in our success. Make sure these are snug. And then as always, head up front, turn on the radio, and just confirm sound to make sure everything is plugged up. And that is how we do that. And then obviously reassembly is the reverse of the above, but we're going to cover that together because that's who we are. All right, so then this guy's off. Situate the seatbelt back into the slot like so. Or not like that, obviously. I'm still learning. So this goes back on top. So it's going to only situate one way. Now we situate the seatbelt before we snap it, like so. Okay. Being a little bit of a bear right now. There we go. Snap, snap, snap. And there is a hold up here. Snap. Perfecto. Snug as a bug in a rug. I said that. I did just say that. Okay, so then we just kind of start putting them back together. This guy goes next. So remember, we just slot it in like so. Snap, snap. We kind of come up here, visibly line up the holes. Snap, snap. And then we come back around to the back. This guy, the trick here is simply lining up. And then before you snap anything into place, just preliminarily like so, and then just snap, snap, and then do the same thing up here. Just lift up like so, and then snap, snap. Perfect. So that part's all put back together, and then we have but one last piece, which is our friend the airbag. So again, we come back around, snap in these two pieces first. It lines up perfectly. You can't goof it up. Snap, snap. Come back with our Torx T20. Reinstall it. Exact same locale. Snug. We take our airbag clip. It goes in but one way, like so. Then we have our friend, this guy, who snaps in again but one way. And now, then we just, actually, it's cool, we're right here. And of course, this process is repeated on both sides. So now, you can see, I don't see if I can, perhaps you can come around into the hatch. So there are two, there's this copper hook here and a copper hook here. First one goes in this slot right here. There's a silver slot. You can see whatever color your car is what color it will be. And this one goes in this hole right here next to the big Torx bolt. So pull the seatbelt out. Like so. This guy's situated in here. So first things first is we get that guy sorted. We get that guy sorted. We push down, tuck all the leather, and push in like that. Everything is back as it once was. We then just realign the weather stripping. Very straightforward process. And like that, we did our rear speakers. So pretty straight, and you snap the back seat back in. You just got to line the seatbelt holes up, which actually, it's not super tricky. But perhaps if we could open this door over here, so you guys can see the seat bolts, you just want to, and I still got to do the other side, so I'm not going to put this together, but you just want to line the seat belts up through here when you push the seat back in and snap it back down. So it's a little bit of a process, but you can see I can, actually look, you just put these up like this. Make sure you got this coming up as well, and you're good to go when you drop the seats back down. So That is going to wrap up our stage 1 here in this 435 Grand Coupe with the Harman Kardon system.